Hey, welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to take a little bit of a tour of the Northwest Tattoo Museum with Mr. Jay Brown. And Jay's been tattooing a little bit longer than I have, has a lot of history, and he's going to share with us some of his business cards, tattoo machine, some old flash, and even a Lou family poster. So this is going to take a little while. So grab yourself a beverage and some snacks and get comfortable. And this doesn't even touch the surface of what he owns. So be sure to stop by if you're anywhere up there in the area and support Jay and the museum because our history is a great cause. All right, you're going to give us a little tour of the museum here, Jay?
Sure. Let's see where to start. And I'm going to walk up to the front here. As you can tell behind me, it's a pretty big space. I always had this dream of having a tattoo shop inside of a museum because the museum started out in a tattoo shop, and because of that, I always, I had got that thing. Well, wouldn't it be neat, to do it the arcade, like in the back of an arcade or something like that. And then when we had to move out of our old space, and I got this space, I was like, God, it's huge. I can put a tattoo shop in it. So we kind of have a tattoo shop area in here that, because as Lyle, speaking of Lyle told me once, no museum makes it on the price of admission. And that is something that I have found out in the last 12 years is very, very true. Mm-hmm. So you got to have tattooing for it to.
Yeah, but Lyle wouldn't know. He only ever talked about a museum. He never got around to his, man.
No kidding, right?
Yeah.
You got a lot of stuff for that museum too, talking about it.
This collection was ridiculous.
Yeah, being, as going and seeing his going to his house and all that and seeing the collection is just incredible.
And you only got to see a small portion of it. The guy he owned so much stuff just packed away. It was ridiculous.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. It would be amazing to see. So I'm just starting over here because this is an exhibit that that I started on last year, and I'm slowly getting people commissioned for different pieces. But what it is my kind of my tribute to Japanese style tattooing. And that one there is a Kazo Ogori piece. And then this one just recently I got from Fit Buchanan, which turned out to be a real beautiful piece. And I kind of started it all out with that Kazo. And then I don't know if you've heard of Robert McNeil. He's been tattooing for quite some time. Henry Goldfield and Chuck Eldridge and Pat Martinuke were his mentors. But he does this incredible Japanese stuff, as you can tell right there. So one of the first things you see when you walk in the door, and eventually I've got a whole wall space here that I want to fill with nothing but Oriental stuff. But I guess I'll take you over here to see our Zeiss being one of the big suppliers out there. Of course, I have a nice little bit for Zeiss, and then there's where you get out the money to give me. And then, Good Time Charlie's always been a friend and a cool cat. And I've always loved this big flash sheet. So it's like one of the things that you see when you walk in. And we put it over here because this was my daughter's idea. We set up an old tattoo booth set up here. And we got our lead artist, Scully, here. And he takes care of business. And I've kind of set it up to where it's like an old station. And we've even gone so far as to put the bucket, and there's a Clorox bottle.
Sponge and bucket, man.
Yeah, I have a Lysol bottle planned as well, here soon. So I keep forgetting to do it, but just an extra little added thing, because like I have this old bottle of green soap. I don't know if it's visible enough there.
Yeah, no, that's gorgeous.
From the 1930s, and it's still got green soap in it, and the corks broke off. I wanted to put the Lysol bottle in there, and then of course down here we have the little nip for the artists in between shifts or in between people. But yeah, old Scully there. It was my daughter's idea, and she said, we ought to do a little setup there. So that's our guy. So that's one of the first deals as you walk in. And then the museum kind of starts off to the right. Well, and as you this gives an idea of kind of the scale. And this is an ongoing project that just, as you can tell, I got lots of upward wall space there, and I've got stuff planned for that soon. So the beauty of just having a back surgery is I actually have time now to do some of these things because I can't tattoo for a while. This is a fun little get up we put together of just different, I have a lot of narratives so people can kind of, get an idea of stuff if everybody's working, but just like basic stuff that people, and there's a glare on that. And then of course, this is you probably dig this, all the needle building fun there, because, it's a lost art. And people get a kick, tattoo artists especially get a kick out of seeing all that stuff. I wish I'd opened the
I have a lot of that same equipment still.
Oh, I bet you do. I bet you do. There's only so much you can put on display, but
yeah,
I've got the majority. There's all these different needle bars, and every one of them is different. Every one of them is either by a different company or bent by hand by a different person or whatever. I've got brass ones and aluminum ones, and yeah, it's an interesting thing. A lot of times, like when tattooers come, I'll get into the cases and pull stuff like this out and say, hey, we can check this out or whatever.
Old handmade tubes and whatnot.
Yeah. There's some cool ones in here. Let me grab the key here. Ta-da! That way we don't got a glare. But there's some old brass ones, and this one I find this one really interesting right here, just because of that hole, and it's a shader tube. I don't know if I can see that, but it's a
little bit of heater hose for a grip.
Yep, the old heater hose grip. Unfortunately, some of these just don't have the grips on them anymore. This one I always thought was pretty neat one too. So the way that tip is really different with the clean out, and then just kind of a flat end tip there. Stuff that people aren't used to seeing anymore.
That reminds me of an early Spalding one. I had some.
Yeah, but I got an Owen Jensen machine that's got a tube similar to that on it too, which is pretty neat. This one's kind of cool. Friend Rocket Rick Hinter, he worked in Arizona for a while, Missouri and all that, Colorado. This is he had a gold-plated tattoo machines and gold-plated tubes, and so he sent me one of his gold-plated tubes that he tattooed with, and I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. But but back in the day, it was all about being flashy and showing off. So. But yeah, that's, as we start to walk in, I've got a bunch of the old photos and whatnot. And then one of my first exhibits that I have in here is for Bert Grimm. And, you have to have something for him in here. And I just had more items, Bert Grimm items. And it kind of all started out with the gravestone rubbing and some stencils and whatnot. And then this is a cool one. Wes Grimm sent me that.
Nice.
One of his checks. I thought that was kind of a wild thing, something that not a lot of tattoo museums are going to have on display, at least. But then from Grimm, I kind of went with some of the greats, Percy Waters, and I have a narrative here and just some different stuff from him. I've got machines in the case, so there's a little bit more there. Just briefly, like some Cap Coleman. I had displays for a lot of the greats, Paul Rogers, and then of course the man we were talking about there, Lile Tuttle.
Yeah, I almost bought one of those shirts, but I thought the price was too high, and I really, really regret not getting it.
Oh yeah. I have had people try to get my poster out of me, and I'm just like, no, there's no way.
And the red sock, I love it.
This was one of his.
Yeah.
That was the coolest thing in the world. I just thought that was great to get my hands on that. I couldn't pass up the shirt thing. And then Philadelphia Eddie, of course, I've got a little bit here for him um, on display, because Eddie was a good friend. I met him in the 90s, and RJ introduced me. And so it was, one of those things. He was considered Uncle Eddie. And after he passed away, when some of his stuff was coming up available, this came up. And what it is these are his the United Arts Tattoo Arts Supply, the business licenses, and they're
Nice.
stacked up, and they go all the way back to the beginning of the company. And I thought, wow, I saw that, and I was like, oh, I got to have that. But I got to have some great experiences with Eddie, some fun times. I could go on with some Eddie stories that would.
Well, every year I was in Florida here when Troy was throwing the Tampa show. Like he was
See
always
Eddie.
like, hey, wanted me to come by on Monday, come by the house, and we'll just sit outside. We'll feed the ducks together. And I was
Right.
always in too big of a rush. I just spent the weekend with the guy, so I wasn't like I missed him, but I was like, I regret not taking an extra day to hang out with him and just feed the damn ducks.
Right.
Because I spent all weekend with him, had a good time, but that private time feeding the ducks with Eddie would have been awesome. Again, another
Oh,
one of
yeah.
my regrets, man.
Yeah, we got to take the time to spend with these people now, or we're not going to get it. Which,
Yeah,
you know,
I'm
sadly.
learning that a little too late, but
Yeah,
I'm
I think
learning
I
it.
am too. Well, conventions and all that was a great way to do that. And like I said, we lucked out to be in that heyday of that and meet a lot of those guys. But yeah, everybody's got to just start take the time, whatever, and add an extra day to the trip. Instead of packing up after the convention's done and running back to your room or jumping in your car and leaving, stay an extra night and go out to dinner with everybody, because that's
I
the way
still
we used
feel
to
like
do
I'm
it.
in my youth. There's people out there that consider me to be an old timer now, or you to be an old timer now. And I'm like, well,
Yeah,
wait, slow
crazy.
your fucking roll, brother. I'm not.
Yeah, I'm not
but,
that old.
but it's true.
Yeah, it is. But and I'm gonna flip this back around.
Yeah.
So we're looking at stuff other than my ugly mug. But Eddie was, I got lucky with Eddie. And I think one of the coolest things that Philadelphia Eddie ever did was he wrote books and put down so much tattoo history, it's not even funny. And I'm so glad that he did that, and wish more people would, because those 7 books just have so much information in them. It's not even funny.
I have them all, and that's part of what we're doing right here today, Jay.
Yeah,
Is
recording.
these conversations I'm having with old friends or my peers and whatnot. It's just documenting little tiny pieces of history, man. That's all it is. It's nothing special, but it's recording a moment and getting some stories out there that so they don't just go away.
Right. Exactly. And it's good. The one thing I've noticed that's good is that we've got a lot of people compiling information, putting books together, things like that, which I really, really think is cool, because it's getting lost every day. A lot of the tattoo history that we have is all oral tradition or oral history. It's all from one person's mouth to the next person's ear, and how that gets distorted over time, and it's starting to be where all that's left in some of these as far as history goes, for some people is a handful of flash and a couple of machines and some business cards, and
a lot of
that's all
rumors.
Yeah,
a
and
lot of rumors
or no knowledge whatsoever.
Right.
So that's one of those things that
I'm too lazy to write a book though, so that's why I do the videos.
Yeah, I'm writing one that's basically going to be a tour of the museum, every object that's on display, and little stories, whether it be just a short paragraph or a whole section on the person.
Well, that'd be awesome for
it.
people that can't get there. I mean,
Yeah, going to be a big, coffee table book, but and probably won't be out till fall, but it's something that I've been working on and have got formatted and started already. So
Well, if you
But
need another retail source place to stick it, you're welcome
oh,
to
that would
stick it
be
on the
awesome.
shelves here, man. I don't need to make really any money off it. Just sort of,
That'd be awesome. Yeah,
yeah.
it's a coffee table book, on a tour, like you said, because it's Coeur d'Alene, Idaho is kind of off the beaten path. It is I hate to say this anywhere public, it is a really beautiful place to come and visit and go to vacation, but don't move here. No, but that's just I guess that's a North Idaho. For some reason, Coeur d'Alene's on one of the top, places to move
Hmm.
in the country. Idaho is one of the top states in the country to move to, which I don't, well, I mean, I do get it, but uh, all the people that are moving down to the potato half, I don't have any idea why they want to do that whatsoever. It's really flat and potatoy. And here, a funny thing is you can't get Idaho potatoes in Idaho. Most of the potatoes we get are from Washington and Oregon. All the Idaho ones I mean, this is no bullshit. It actually gets shipped out elsewhere.
That's interesting.
Oh yeah, a funny thing during the pandemic, everybody's hoarding toilet paper, and nobody, everybody was freaked out about toilet paper and all that. So everybody's hoarding all that, and we about 125 miles, maybe tops south of here, is one of the largest toilet paper factories in the world. And so I kept telling people, do you really think we're going to run out here? I mean, if it really gets that bad, just take a drive down to, Lewiston and go over to Clarkson and go to Costco. They got tons of it.
But if you can't get your own potatoes, you may not be able to get your own toilet paper.
Yeah, well, there for a while, that was the case for sure. For sure. I wanted to, I know I'm going to flip back around here. I just thought of something because it's sitting behind me over my shoulder here. And it's a little collection that I've put together that I really dig. And let me spin this around. Boom. Oh, I'm so glad I got this thing figured out. This is our Norman Rockwell collection.
Nice.
And started out with this plate here. That somebody had given us, and it was like, oh, cool. And then from the plate, somebody gave me a small photo. Well, I guess it's not a photo. I guess it's a print, and then which was pretty cool. And like that was the next step. And then I wound up with the small statue. And then after the small statue, this in the middle here is a music box. And then once you get going, Lyle told me once, be careful. Collecting is a disease. Called it collector's disease.
I had no idea there was a Hot Wheels. I need to put that on my list of things to find, man.
Hot Wheels. Yep. And I got it on eBay, and it was not that expensive at all. And then of course there's the Zippo.
That's nice. I've got a few of those items, but you've got them all. Wow.
The decanter. And that my daughter's boyfriend, fiance, whatever he is, good cat. I like him. I don't want to shoot him or anything. So I hope they're not. I don't know if they're watching this or not. But that was a gift from them, and I thought that was really cool, the decanter, because that's one of the ones that, being the nature of it, it breaks. And then we've got the bigger statue. And there's one other statue that I don't have yet. And if I don't get it, then I'm fine with that. And then this is a cool one right here. This is a Senior Scholastic magazine. And it was, let's see what the date is on that, 1948. And it was just for, high school students. And it's a picture of a couple of kids standing over Rockwell's shoulder.
I remember it took me quite a while to get that because I got an original copy of the post there. I think it's March 4th, 1944 or something like that.
It's impossible to get, right?
Yeah, and it took me a while, but I finally got one.
I think Carmen Nissen sent me this, and then she sent me another Saturday Evening Post in '79, and I'm trying to see February 1979. The whole issue was dedicated to Norman Rockwell. And so this is in that issue.
Well, the Norman Rockwell Museum is not too far from me here either, though. So so this is cool. Like, kind of like heartwarming, homey type of thing here, because I've always been a massive fan of Norman Rockwell's art even prior to me getting into tattooing. So,
Oh yeah, yeah. I've got a whole nice big thick book of his stuff. I love his stuff. It's great. The caricatures of the time and all that, just the subject matter. We had I'm sure you saw pictures of the last location that the shop was at. There's the one that um, everybody would die to have kind of
mhm,
thing. Like you said, was hard to hunt down.
it
Um,
was, especially to get a nice copy too. So,
You know what's really cool? And then let's see, I think Drew Winter was the guy who gave me this. He had an extra copy because I've been looking for it forever. And he goes, you know what? I got something for you. And he sent it, and I just about shit myself. And it's tattered a little bit here and there, but it's in pretty damn good shape. I don't get it out. But every now and then when a tattoo artist comes, because from your copy, the back cover is tattoo related as well, with
yep.
that Coca-Cola ad on it. And I don't think a lot of people know about the backside of it, but that Coca-Cola ad is just priceless, with the Marine showing his big eagle on his chest. And then I think the guy was a New Zealand uh, Army officer, and then the Maori guy there, all having a Coca-Cola together, and so you've got two different modern tattooing, and then your oh shit, you know what? I'm going to get this out so that people can actually see it. Like I said, I only get it out when tattoo artists are around, but you're a tattoo artist, so so this is an exception, but to the rule. Let's see if we can get where I can.
Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah,
I'm sure the viewers will appreciate it.
There it is. I think that is so cool. And it's like the one thing on the reverse side that, I don't think a lot of people know that that's there. And Coca-Cola is, 1944 is like, okay with tattoos.
Mhm.
So it's kind of a neat deal. So I had to pull that out for real quick. Like I said, you're a tattoo artist, so you count. It's like I tell people, I'll get the machines and stuff, all the cool machines and stuff out for you. But but I only do that for tattoo artists. And Lyle used to do this to me, and I used to always get all nervous and start sweating. He'd hand me an old tattoo machine and, be like, oh, like that. And one time he just goes, it's not a holy relic. I was like, I don't want to drop it. He's like, it's patina. Shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I had that experience when I was at his house, like, because when I started tattooing, I'm mechanical, I design machines and stuff like that all the time anyways. And I had all these ideas on how to improve tattoo machines. And I thought I was a genius. And then I went to Lyle's house and started looking through his machine collection, and all these things that I thought were unique and new and had never been tried, they were already tried back in, the 20s and 30s. Other artists have tried them and builders have tried them. But same thing, I'd open up the drawers and start picking up those machines and, just cupping them like a small child. And he'd be tossing them back in the drawers and not even thinking twice. You look at his workbench, he had a giant pile of Jonesy roundbacks, another pile of Jonesy squarebacks, just heaped up there like they were just trash waiting to be taken out.
I remember one time he took me in there out to where the workbench was and everything, and he was opening up drawers and showing me different things, and he had like 3 or 4 Frisco Flyer frames that had flaws in them. Well, that was a lot of F's, wasn't it? But and I was like, oh wow, because unattainable machine. And I said, Lyle, would you sell me one of those? And he goes, no, I won't sell it. He says, it's got flaws in it. I'm not letting it go because it's got flaws in it. And you know how Lyle was into, everything had to be just right. So as one of those, damn, it would have been nice just to have a frame, One of these days, maybe I'll get one in the collection, but I just don't have $5,000 to, I think that's the going rate.
Yeah, probably about these days. Yeah. And it's only going to go up. That's the thing. It's so.
Yeah, well, and that's where, well, I'm not going to give anybody advice to collect tattoo stuff because then it doesn't get into our hands, museums.
See, I won't.
No, I tell people collect stuff because it's smart.
I love this stuff and I cherish this stuff, and I have bits and pieces that I've gathered over the years, but I've gathered them. I haven't collected them. I have never gone out and bought them, or I mean, some things I've purchased and they turn out to be collectibles, but like I've never sought them out. I just can't spend that kind of money on something to just sit there and look at. It's just not my style. So, but I have some really
Yeah.
unique stuff, you know, but
When the museum has a little extra money, we always try to pick up, this
right.
or that or the other thing.
But I mean, you're pursuing it as on a larger scale.
Right.
I gather things. I acquire them, let's say.
Well, I got
I
piles of that too.
Yeah. I don't care. I don't care to put them on display
Right.
or anything like that. Somebody comes by and they're interested, I'll show them for sure.
Right. Here, let
But
me take you in the
it's
back.
yeah, it's just I got too many other things going on, I guess. But
Yeah, well, and it's a hell of an endeavor too, trying to
yeah,
keep a tattoo museum going and do that. And
it's a whole
there's
other
not a lot,
job.
there's not a lot of funding, there's not a lot of, things are, like you said, get more and more expensive. And so, it's like, it's not a cheap endeavor by any means, or not an
No.
inexpensive endeavor by any means.
Oh, you do
Uh,
it because you're passionate about it,
yes, exactly.
and that's that. That's your
Yep,
reward.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. We were talking about Eddie earlier, and I was going to say this is kind of a cool little thing I have. For some people, it might be morbid, but oh, I know how to turn this stuff around now. Except for you got to see my big fat finger. Stan Moskowitz, and Eddie were good friends, and Stan knew that Eddie and I were good friends. And so after Eddie passed, Stan sent me some of his ashes. So I actually
Nice.
got a little deal right here. And people are always, what is that? And I said, it's Philadelphia Eddie. But yeah, I had to show you guys that. Norman
I
Rockwell
got
thing.
tattooed by Stan. I never got tattooed by Eddie, though.
I never got a chance to get tattooed by either of them, and I regret it. Because I went on a road trip with Eddie one time, and for like 3 conventions, and we didn't. It was just not. I never got him to pick up a machine. Hey, come on, you can do one for me, because he wasn't really tattooing. Because even if he would have just signed his name, it would have been cool with me, or a little star or something. Didn't have to be much. But in the 90s, I didn't even think about it. You thought those guys
No.
are going to be around forever, and then they're not around forever. So
No, I mean, I can't even tell you how many years I tried to talk Lyle into tattooing me, and all he was doing was his signature forever and a day. And I was lucky enough to be one of the few people that, like, one of the first people he actually did something other than his signature on, because I just tell him all the time, I'm like,
cool.
Lyle, I want you to tattoo me, but I don't want your fucking name on me. I'm like, I'm a friend, not a fan, I'm not a,
Right.
so, or whatever. And
I wish I
one
would have
day,
thought
one day we were at the Massachusetts Tattoo Arts Festival down in Sturbridge, Mass.
right.
And I was actually getting tattooed, getting some work redone by a good friend of mine and whatever. And Lyle come by and we're sitting there sipping on scotch, having a good time and everything. And I just blurted out, "Hey, so when you gonna tattoo me?" Da, 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 da. And rather than get the normal response, he's like, "All right, what do you want? God damn it!" And I was like, "Whoa!" I hadn't thought it through. I had no idea what to ask for.
Right.
So he did a horrible little tequila worm on me. Worst tattoo I have. But it's going to be one of my favorites till the day I die. But
Oh yeah, right.
but yeah,
Exactly.
that's it's but the same thing. You don't think of those things. These people, like, they're your friends, and you take for granted that they're going to be there forever. And if anybody takes anything
They're
away
not.
from this video, realize that nothing is forever, man.
Nothing is forever. And make phone calls, not just text messages.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
absolutely.
I'm really bad at that, and I'm trying to do that more often. I'm trying to get the text message thing going, where okay, I'm not going to text if I've got something more than something just quick to say. I'm not going to text them. I'm gonna call, because nobody does that anymore. We've lost the you can take a text message wrong, whereas and you can't take the tone of somebody's voice wrong. So, and then you take it for granted, when was the last time you got to hear that person's voice if they happen to pass away from whatever reason or another.
Yeah, I mean, I can still hear Stan and Eddie and Lyle,
Oh
and
yeah.
I
Uh, maybe Jack Armstrong. I can kind of hear his growly, raspy voice there a little bit, but as time goes on, those memories fade, man. You're like, there's gonna be a time when I'm not gonna be able to hear those and remember them the way I did, I'm sure. And I'll be sad about that for sure.
I'm still hearing Jack's voice a little bit. I'm sitting here going, Jack's voice, what does he sound like? Because I just bought a sheet of flash, and I got a whole little exhibit that I need to put together. I got one of his machines, a sheet of Ed Hardy flash that hung in one of his shops that Jim Peters sent me. And then I bought a little sheet of his flash. And then I've got the first one of his conventions that he did, the Houston thing. In '94, I've got one of those posters from that convention that that he actually, I was there, and I don't know what happened to mine. And so later I wound up with the old man. So that was kind of cool. So to Rossini, Jack Armstrong, great big across the front of it. It's pretty neat. And so I'll have a nice little exhibit for him. I just have to put it together.
I'm thinking that might be one of the first places I met Jack I think it was '96 in Houston. That was Lile and Dave Yurku's show. Yeah, it was the anniversary.
That was the anniversary
of the '76 show 20 years later. So 20th anniversary.
I remember that. That was a fun time.
You were there too?
Yeah.
See, our paths must have crossed so many times.
Oh yeah,
man.
But I was all young and didn't have the beard and.
Well, nor did I, man. I was a kid cutting my teeth in the business.
I had a nickname, all kinds of stuff like that. So, that made things different, for sure. So yeah, that, and I'm sure if your memory is anything like mine, it's foggy due to having too much fun at those conventions.
That is true.
So
a lot of those shows I didn't remember the day after.
Yep. And if you did, you only remembered part of it. You remember that you were there and you tattooed, and that's it.
Half the fun was hearing the stories from your friends the next day.
Oh yeah, or wandering the halls at night and wandering around and seeing what kind of mess you can get into. What kind of craziness you can find. And following your nose sometimes. Ooh,
we did like to push our boundaries, that's for sure.
That smelled somebody's smoking something in there. Knock, 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 knock.
Yeah, you could get away with that back in the day, just knocking on a random hotel room door, and you were invited in, and drinks were shared and good times were had.
Right. Anymore, it's like, get the fuck away from me.
So what else you got in there, Jay?
All right, let me flip back around here. Come on. Point. And there we go. Oh, and there's the Norman Rockwell stuff again. My flash wall. I had to put this is our tattoo shop area. I was going to enclose it more, and I didn't. And the reason why I didn't do it was because I wanted people to be able to talk. These guys have got it all messy on their pony walls too. I'm gonna have to get after everybody. But so here's some of the flash wall here, just a nice smattering of flash. And some of the really cool ones to take notice at is these pieces right here. This particular one here that you can see, and then I'll come back to that in a second. And then I've got another set here. And what these sheets are Amon Dietzel traveling book pages. I probably didn't give enough of a look at that second one.
That's all right.
But they're from somewhere between 1910 and 1918, when Dietzel was on the circus tour, when he did his circus years. So
75 cents.
Yeah, is that amazing? Did you see it?
It's incredible.
Now, if you look at the price, can you see it there? Do you see how it's actually $2.75?
Okay.
But the 2 is different, and we took a good look at that under microscope. It's different ink. And then you get down to these guys here, and they're 75 cents or $1.75. It's hard to tell on those ones. But then when we get on this other side, you can see another one here. It was 50 cents at one point in time, and then it became $2.50. And one more here. This was, you can just clearly tell when we put it under microscope that there's $1 that got turned into 4.
Right.
So I always found that kind of interesting, but back when prices were on everything, that's the way guys did it. And so they, I guess when the prices changed, they just had to go with the flow. But I've always found it interesting with those pieces that's there. Another one thing that I really drives me nuts about these guys, I would say that this right here, and some guys did like if they design didn't look right, they would repaint it or they would put something over it. And I just don't have the access to the technology to really see what's under there. It'd probably have to be x-rayed or something along those lines. And I'm not lifting it up, you know what I mean?
Right.
So, but a piece here that I really think is cool that we just acquired recently is this one here in the middle. And what this sheet is I picked this up from a friend of mine who had got it out of his collection, which was his dad's collection before that. And it was in Frenchie's shop in Denver, Colorado. And so it's an unknown, but we know that he was probably a West Coast tattooer, and the designs are just, really nice, some really beautiful stuff. And, I've dated it somewhere in the 20s and 30s because you can see in the towers here, they're actually the old style battleship towers, not the newer style ones. But really nice stuff, really clean. And I love Navy stuff because my grandfather was a Navy guy and all that. But what caught my eye, I said, anything Navy, let me see it and I'll, pick what I can. So he picked out 4 sheets for me and I took a good look at them and I saw this right here. And I went, man, you son of a gun, you did that on purpose. And he was like, what? And I said, you know I was going to have to get that because it had the USS Idaho on it. And he was like, I didn't even notice. He didn't even and he took a look at it. He's like, oh, wow. And I said, well, that's the one that has to come home to Idaho. Well, the USS Idaho, and here she is right here. And you can see the towers that are very similar to the ones in the deal here. USS Idaho was, she was commissioned in 1919 and served all the way through World War II in the Pacific till 1947, and then she was scuttled. But and that's what tells me that the ship was, or the tattooer was most likely a West Coast tattoo artist, because why would you have USS Idaho on a sheet when you worked in the East Coast? So, but who knows? That's how tattoo history is. Let me see what else we got that's fun. There's a Darple right there. Here's an Earl Brown sheet. And this one's really neat. And I used to have a couple of them, but I kept this one. And it's a bunch of eagles. And the other thing I really liked about it, it was number 2. And whenever you can get a number 2, that's always good, right? And then some fun ones I just got, and I'll put these up here. These are all Chicago Tattoo Supply House sheets. And it'll take me a second because I got to reach up to show them. Is
this all like used to be some of Fat Joe's collection?
Of who?
Fat Joe?
No, I got the Chicago Tattoo Supply House sheets out of the same deal out of Colorado.
Okay.
But here's the beauty right here. And then we'll come down, and since I'm coming down this way, this is a painless nail sheet here, and then we're back down to the Dietzels there. So that's kind of a look at some of the flash wall stuff we have there. There's a bunch of others, but I mean, we could go on and on and on and on as far as that goes.
Well, you don't want to show people everything because you want them to come out there and see for themselves.
That's right. Or buy the book, because I'm writing a book about everything that's in here. and the back history of it. So yeah, you got to buy the book. But
Hey,
here's another interesting a little bit. I'm gonna try not to get my finger in there too bad, but that I have, and I'm really honored to have these because the family doesn't let go of much of the stuff. And what this is this is some Eddie Tex piece stuff. And here's some stencils I got, and I love stencils. I don't know who doesn't anymore these days, doesn't love acetates. But those are some nice ones. And I actually have a fourth one. And I kind of, like I said, the Peace family, they don't really let stuff go very often. And so there's been a couple instances that I was able to get them to sell me a sheet.
there's some of my
need...
favorite people too. I just
I love LeDan and Jenny. They're great people. They really are awesome.
Yeah.
Isn't that a beautiful sheet?
It is.
LeDan's
not doing so well these days. So
I hadn't heard that.
you may want to reach out to him, but
I will.
I reach
for
out to him
sure.
here and there or whatever, but yeah. So I don't want to send any signals up or whatever, but
Speaking of them too, this sheet right here is one that Jenny did from the old.
gorgeous.
Yeah, Jenny did that in 2013, and it was in an auction to help somebody out, and they didn't. Nobody bought the sheet. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" And it's like that's just not unreal. That's just too. And it was like $100, and I was just like, "Okay, I'm getting it." That's just it's too beautiful to let go.
That's
So
really
I'm gonna
sad
move-
because like most auctions you go to in our events, like typically people overpay for everything to a good
Right.
cause. So
Here's a
Shocking.
cool Sailor Barney sheet. Sailor Barney Jr. Actually, I have a Sailor Barney, but this is a Sailor Barney Jr. sheet here, which is kind of neat. It's one of my favorites. I really dig it. Okay, so I'm gonna move over to the next section. I've got a whole section for Pat Martineau picture machine, and I've tried to stick to some West Coast stuff out here in the museum, but his son Jesse and I have been good friends for a while. So going way back when we were both young, and so I have a bit of a collection here of stuff that is all picture machine, and I got lucky to get a couple of really nice pieces. I love this. Any battle royale, I mean, you're going to love that. There's Pat and Lyle together next to the narrative, and then I got a real nice couple of nice acetates, but it's this one right here that is the one. And this is you remember this from the sheets, right?
vaguely, not ringing
Okay.
100% bells, huh?
They're side by side right there. And the one
Ooh.
is the production sheet. The other
Okay.
one is the acetate that I got from Jesse. And that acetate was, I'm going to zoom in on this one because it's kind of fun, and I'll get into the next. The acetate is bigger than the actual production sheet. And here, we'll go back up and look at it. The other thing about it is there are differences in the cut. So the stencil I have is actually the original acetate that Pat had cut for that.
Nice.
This right here is in the collection as well, and this is Guy Martineau's, and that they're cute, and it's from '84, and so that was Pat's son, and so I've got Pat's son in there, and then as we go down, I got a shot of Jesse. So there's grandson, and Jesse's the one who hooked us up. And then over here, we've got a sheet that hung on the wall in the Geary Street shop. I'm gonna go one more with this stuff. And I think this one is cool. It's another acetate. And, it's a nice big chest, upper arm kind of thing, back shoulder. But the cool thing is, and I don't know if this will be able to be seen or not, I think it might just look like real thick thick lines, but it's actually double cut. So
You can reverse it. Nice.
Yeah, it's a double cut stencil. And I really, that was really ingenious, you know, people doing that. That was just a really ingenious thing going on. So you didn't have to have two stencils for each design, you know what I mean? So it's kind of cool. Here's some more, just some of the acetate collection. I got some cool ones. Here's a Sailor Jerry right there. And the Demano Mallee Bog means horny devils. So, and then this one I always get a kick out of because it's the Schlitz malt liquor bowl.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, I don't think, you know, put that one together. It's on flash sheets and whatnot. So really kind of a fun piece, you know, with the history between Schlitz beer and all that. So from here on out, anybody looks at a bottle of Schlitz, they're going to go, that's seen this, they're going to go, oh, wow, I saw that on on an acetate. So it's been tattooed. Here's a Colonel Todd right here. You can see how those are beautiful, beautiful birds there. So that's a nice bit. And then let's see, where's the one? I got this one that's, here's a couple of cool ones right here. There's the screw for your butt when you're in the Navy, and the old hinge for the arms, which is pretty neat. I always thought, you know, if I was ever going to get the ditch done, I would do the hinge thing, but I never did do it because after my motorcycle accident, I decided not to get anything done in there, because if they need a blood transfusion, then we need it right now. So here's another.
Stan
cool
tattooed my ditch on my left arm, and that sucked.
Yeah.
I tell everybody all the time, I'm like, don't let a 76-year-old man tattoo your ditch.
Oh yeah, no kidding. So these right here are paper stencils, and they're just done with hectograph ink, and then they work the same way as a regular stencil did. And they're from, you can see from the girl there, they're from the 30s era, and a few of them got used more than others. So that's a pretty cool little deal. You don't see those very often because most of them, I think, wound up in the trash.
Yep.
This next panel has got some Captain Don Leslie stencils, but you know, Lyle told me that Captain Don never cut a stencil in his life. So, but these are really neat. Some of them are kind of rough. You can see there, and then it gets a little cleaner. And so some different stuff that, you know, is attributed, but, you know, like I said, Lyle said it never happened. And
you should ask his son.
Huh?
You should ask his son.
Who, Don Leslie's? Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, I should. That would clear things up. Because
I just recently
maybe I
discovered.
shouldn't have said all that because I don't want to get Lyle in trouble, but you
Well,
know,
no,
I can't really get him in trouble.
we all only know so much, and a lot of it is things we hear which may not necessarily be true. So, but yeah, no, I just recently was talking to his son because I discovered a long series of photos that I took of performance of Don. I want to say at the Houston show in '96. I'm going to get him
cool.
The originals and the negatives if I can, just for his collection. So
right.
They'll do him more good than they'll do me. So.
Oh yeah, totally. I used to see him every year at Tattoos and Blues. Don had come out and he'd breathe fire and swallow swords and everything out there, and it was a real treat seeing him every year. I really enjoyed Don. He was great. He'd sit in the bar and play his guitar and sing some of his music from his album. And you know, I can't remember what he called that album, but it was pretty cool.
I was lucky enough that time I was staying at Lyle's place. Don come over one morning and spent a number of hours just, you know, just more low key shooting the shit and things like that. So it was pretty cool because, like, you know, I used to see him at shows too, but you know, at a show you don't really, it's a little more formal, you know, it's like too many people that you got to see and talk to or whatever. So just having him show up for like breakfast was was a lot of fun.
Here's a fun one. I can't get it all in frame just at first. I'm going to drop it down. But this is a really cool piece that we have. And what it is it's a Philip and Tatine Lou piece that was done, and I'll get a little bit closer on it here. Let's see how we can do. There we go. This was something that was from when they came out in 1993 and did a bit in San Francisco with Bill and Junie Salmon. And I really dig it because it's got the skeleton on it, you know, and these kind of the Grateful Dead looking skeleton, because old Bill Salmon was a deadhead. I've got some old cards that got the bears on them and whatnot, so it's kind of interesting. Ooh, that was a stretch getting down on my knees for that one.
Be careful.
But it was worth showing. So if it's worth
It's a beautiful
showing, then
piece.
yeah. Let me flip back around here. I got a couple more acetates I want to show. These ones are kind of neat because they were done by Bert Rodriguez. I'm speaking of the Grateful Dead, of course, the Skull and Roses had to have that. But these are on flat sheets. And, you know, guys used to do that, and they would just use the area of the sheet that, you know, they did the particular tattoo from. And so, you know, you can even see his number right there, and that's the folder number or the sheet number or whatever that it correlates to. And I always thought those were pretty interesting deals. Here's a couple more old. This is Fred Marquand. And it's a sketchbook page, and I kind of put the sketchbook page and the stencils together. And there's some pretty interesting stencils here. This one being one of the ones that's kind of the most unique. I don't know if you can see that. I'm trying to get the glare off of it. Let's see, there it is in the corner. There's
Well,
not much glare on
that's
it.
funny. Wait a minute, I'm gonna hold the stencil up here. I don't know if it's gonna focus, and you guys are gonna.
Oh yeah, it's not focusing.
See, oh man, but
Can you see? I think you can see that now if I zoom up and down it. When we were getting stencils from this collection, I helped Michael DeWitt's get rid of a bunch of the sheets, but you could see it's the guy chasing the dragon. So definitely a 1920 stencil. When we were getting the stencils and the sheets of flash, you know, he asked me what kind of
trying to hide
yeah,
my
can't see that
eyes.
either. Oh no. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's a cool version of that.
Yeah, and it's just funny that you happen to just show that, because that stencil's sitting here on my desk.
On your
And
desk.
yeah, and here's the funny part. It's not the funny part, it's the sad part, is I'm not 1,000% sure where I got this stencil. I brought it back from a show and I never documented it. And I'm really,
Right.
it's going to drive me nuts. I'll figure it out one of these days. But if anybody watching this could recognize that stencil,
Yeah.
or if you happen to be the person that gave it to me, sold it to me, please let me know who did
There
it
you go.
and what
Yeah.
year it's from, because it's kind of, that's why it's on my desk. It's driving me nuts. I'm trying to put those pieces back together. But
Right.
yeah.
It's interesting that it's of the same concept, you know, the same you know, the same thing, chasing the dragon.
Yeah,
It just was you know, that was a straight on view as well. And you know,
it's just so weird though, because I mean, that was totally not planned. You just happened to show a piece that I was like, holy crap, I got this here.
It's tattoo gods, man. I'm telling you. It's
Oh,
the
they're
tattoo
always
gods.
nudging me one way or another.
That's right. That's the way they work. All right, I'm going to go over here to this. This next section is business cards. I'll zip through this real fast because a lot of these are, well, I mean, they're all cool, but I'll just do a pan. There's a couple that are of little more significance here, and I'm just going to go straight to that one right here. This one right here is a Frank Liberty card from in Boston. And if you flip the card over, it actually has paint on the palette and a little bird sitting on a branch. And so I don't think it was I think it was from a notepad or something like that. and then he just took them and used them as cards and stamped them. But who knows? You know, a real interesting card. It'd be difficult for me to pull out and flip over, but that's kind of a cool one. And then of course, old Doc Webb. Another one I wish I could flip over because I think on the back it says something about your fellow man being a dirty SOB or something like that. So it's kind of funny. And I'll just kind of pan up here. Here's some of the old guys that you probably remember. There's old Sailor Moses, Randy Adams there at the bottom. And then Jack, we were talking about Jack Armstrong. There's when he had two eyes. So he was Two Eyes Jack. And then you probably remember Bob Montagna.
Oh yeah.
That was a shame we lost these. I'm going to reach up for these guys, so I won't be talking, but you might not be able to hear me or just an echo, but I got to show you guys these because they're funny. These, couple of these I got in Sturgis. And you can see the old Skin Deep card and all that. Some old body basics. I don't know if you remember them, but these two are fun. These are from Sturgis, and they were drink cards, and I can't remember what the bar is. It's on the back, and so you'd leave that on your drink when you went to do one or the other. Here's some more fun stuff. Greg Irons, Iwo Jima Eddie. Let's get a little closer. Greg Irons, Iwo Jima Eddie. There's the one right there, the dead tattoo one. I was talking about Bill Salmon. Right there, and you can see it just says dead tattoo on it, and it's got the little dancing bear in the corner and all that, which is pretty cool. Some Bert Grimm, Tiger Bob, nice Cliff Raven one right here back when he was doing the gold. Too much glare, can't see that one. And then Elizabeth Weinzierl. And then I've dedicated this one to pretty much all Northwest people, and you got some interesting ones. You got Danny Danzel here, and then I got a couple of Vivine Lazongas back when she was Madame Lazonga here, you know, and it's back when I don't know if it'll focus on here, but I think it says working with Danny Danzel's there. And then RJ used to have a card that he used to call for the women. He had two cards, one for women, one for the men. So I think this is the same concept right here. Is the see the butterfly and all that, and then there was the other one, so that's kind of an interesting deal. And then I've got Portland Tattoo Studio, Sailor Cam Cook will actually be out visiting soon, and then some Portland, Sunny Ray from Portland, and then these are all Professor Rex and Brenda cards. So kind of some of the Northwest stuff. I like I said, I love cards, and I have like thousands of them, but you can only display so many, so I just kind of pick some. Here's a Buddy Mott card. That's a pretty cool one. Illustrated man from Kansas City or St. Louis.
There's Kate.
Yeah, there's Kate, and that doesn't say where she was at on that one. Doesn't say what state she was in. Do you remember this guy?
Tattoo City.
Yeah, it was in Dallas, Texas. God, I can't remember his name right off. Anyways, that was fun. And then here's another one. I know you remember this. Famous Lake Greg.
Oh yeah. From
the murder capital of the world. That's what you want everybody to know. But that's like some of the nicknames. There was a guy, remember Rusty Needles?
Yeah.
And then there was a guy around here that went by Dirty Harry. And I went, oh, okay, I get it by the movie. Do you remember JD with the bus, with the big tattoo bus? He used to do some conventions too.
Not Crow, right? It wasn't Crow.
No. I don't even remember what his last name is. He's out of Arkansas. And then I'll give you a few more of these, just kind of quick pan over some of the cards. But yeah, some of the cards that we have on display. And like I said, I love them, but you can only do, so much of a section because you jump into the next stuff. And even though we got 1,600 square feet, it's still really tough to not use that up fast. All right, I'm back. Well, what would be fun now is probably tattoo machines, or at least some of them, right? It keeps
take
going
a peek
on
at a couple.
Huh? Okay.
I say you can take a peek at a couple here.
Okay, well, let's take a quick look at a couple of them. The first one, and I got to switch around here. Oh, there we go. This first one, kind of near and dear to my heart. Let's get the glass out of the way. And this was the tattoo machine that RJ used the day he died. And it's a squareback Jonesy that Wando Losky gave him. And it's kind of a neat piece. I always have to have that on display. I take it on the road when we do our tattoo history exhibits. This one, everybody loves these. And it's the old Owen Jensen special. And I was lucky to get this guy. She was minty. See if I can get the light to hit her right. There we go.
Yeah.
And she's just a minty one. The good old Owen Jensen, one of the big suppliers of the day. But every tattoo artist, they come in, they drool over him. These guys right here, you know, everybody's seen these before, Spalding and Rogers. But, you know, I think Spalding and Rogers deserves more credit than it gets. Well, I think it does now, but like the Supreme and the Lightweight were the staple machines. You know, I started with the Lightweight and the Supreme. A lot of people did, so it's kind of a neat machine to have around. I'm going to jump down. I'm just going to do two more, and I'm going to jump down here. These are our Percy Waters, and this one is the pre-patent 1920s one, and she's a real beauty. And I wound up getting this from Aaron Bloomquist, who got it from Jerry Rigger, who got it from Greg May. So a nice little lineage on there. And I want to see if I can get it in the light to hit just right. Can you see the stamp there? How it actually has a little bit, it has that shine in it. It looks almost like it's inlaid with silver. It's because it was originally nickel plated and somebody sanded off the nickel, because there was probably a chip. And right here in this corner, and you probably can't see that, you can see probably where it chipped. And then finally somebody said it started flaking. Probably somebody said, okay, I'm gonna sand it, but it left the nickel inside the Percy Waters stamp. And I love that. Makes it unique. Somebody steals it, I'll definitely know.
Well, let's hope that doesn't happen ever.
Yeah. There's some Stan stuff here real quick. Little collection of some of Stan's frames and machines and whatnot. To see, anybody wants to see the one that I built for Stan, they'll have to come out here.
Okay.
All right, last ones, because we could go on and on with the machines. This is a nice rare item, and I'll pull her out of the case too. It's a 1939 Nick Melroy machine. Now let's see if I can get some light on the subject on this. There we go. And that's a real beauty. I've always loved this frame design. And you can see on the back, I don't know if you can see it, he stamped it, Melroy, across the back. He stamped all of his machines. And it's also stamped on the inside of the upright. And then, of course, him and Amon Dietzel were friends. So it's got that same Amon Dietzel front binding post affair with the spring and all that kind of goodness. So that's one of the gems there. When Lyle appraised it for me for the insurance, he told me an amount that was pretty high. And I went, oh, wow. And he said, but I wouldn't give you that much for it.
Lyle never would.
Yeah. Here's my Sailor Barney from 1958. It's got some glare on it, but you can see the signature there. And I've got some Sailor Barney stuff here in this section, but since I showed the other one out there, I wanted to show that. And then just over here, right there, you can see I put these guys together. Let me see if I can get in there. There's Guy machine, and I made sure I got number 13, and then a Jack machine. So
nice.
I don't know if that's cheesy or not to have Guy and Jack next to each other, but
no, man, those guys are going to be mentors and icons of mine for
forever,
eternity.
right?
So yeah,
Forever.
I've got one of Brian Everett's machines. Really.
Oh, I'd love to get my hands on one of those.
Yeah, I've got one from Stan. I bought a machine from Stan the day he tattooed my ditch.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Did you get one of the Jonesies?
No, I did not.
Oh, yeah, they
I
were
was gonna
cool.
say I don't know where it is right now, or I would run and show it to you. But
Oh, you probably have a Black Beauty.
it's tucked away somewhere.
Yeah. Was it signed on it and everything?
I can't remember, to be honest with you. He almost passed me out that day. He went so deep into my ditch that my hearing went dull. The lights started to dim, and I got the cold sweats and the whole 9 yards. So Catfish Carl was running around trying to take pictures of me, waiting for me to pass out. It was quite the eventful day. That was at Dennis's show in Tucson.
Right.
Down there one time. Yeah.
There's a sign for you. If you don't like our prices, bring in your wife and we'll dick her. That hung in RJ's shop forever. And that's the part of the museum we're at now, is the Rossini collection. I've got quite a bit of things here. That portrait there was done by a gal named Rachel Eleanor Brown. And then Sean Anderson did this because the old man was kind of a little bit of a mentor to him.
I love Sean.
Sent me that. Yeah, isn't that beautiful? Really nice. Yeah, Sean's a good cat. And then here's a sign from the old man's shop in Kalispell. And then I'll show one more thing and then I'll back out. This was cool. This year, Lyle actually went to Sturgis, and Lyle's not a biker. And he went to Sturgis one year. That was 1997. And so it was kind of a crazy year because my job was to take care of Lyle when the old man wasn't around. And you can see I'm a young pup in this picture right here.
Yeah.
I look totally different, but in 1997, that was what, 25, 26 years ago. So, but there's Lyle smiling there. And then Cherokee Chuck, and Chuck runs the Sturgis shop now. There's a Rossini shop in Sturgis all year round, 365, including the rally. And then I'll zoom through this flash real quick because it's kind of neat. Again, I have tons more, but where are you going to put it? Cool thing is I wound up getting these flash racks here are from the old man's last shop. So I've actually had the opportunity to display more flash that way, of more of the flash collection that way. So it's kind of neat, flash racks are a thing of the past, but it's nice because this is from the shop that he had when he died. And then, and now I've got the ability to repurpose them for display. So, I got 140 more sheets out of the deal that I can't put on my walls. So that's neat. This I got to show. This is a Mickey Cott design. There was 300 of these guys made, and Mickey from Colorado. And I think this is from 87. So it's not real old, but it's, it's got some uniqueness to it. And then we were talking about this earlier. And there we were both at this one, at the first annual, and Jack has still got 2 eyes in that one. And then that's when Chuck, I can't remember his last name, but I really dig having that added to the collection. And that was recent. Oh, okay.
Getting tired, brother?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right. Well, I mean, we got a basic tour here. I mean, we can wrap this up whenever you're comfortable, but
I'll make a little more of a pan. I got a couple other items that I'm sitting here looking around going, what else? What other neat stuff? And I'm actually standing in front of one of the things that's pretty cool. And hopefully I can get them without a glare. And one guy's a little crooked, and it's just because he is a little off, but we've started a tattoo wall of fame. And it's something I think museums, it's a good thing for a museum. And there's so many people out there that deserve to be on it that eventually I'm going to have to expand, but I got the room for it. The cool thing about this is all the portraits that are on the wall were done by Judy Parker. And I'm going to switch around so you can see that. And it's kind of wild. The glare is kind of screwy. It was my daughter's idea. We had this big, this great big mirror, and we were contemplating getting rid of it. And then my daughter said, well, it'd be really cool. We could put flash on it and then it would reflect. But there's a couple. You got Cap Coleman and Percy Waters, Bert Grimm and Jack, of course, Bob Shaw, Chuck Eldridge. So there's living and dead people in this. There's Lyle and Cliff Raven. We got Sailor Jerry, Captain Don, who we were just talking about. Let's see who else will go to the next row. Oh, here, one over. There we go. Sailor Moses. Bert Rodriguez is still with us. The guy who's a little crooked, Snake Yates, but he's not crooked. He's just, a little off.
He's always been a little off.
Yeah, Cap Zumsky. I love Snake. He's so funny. I laughed so hard every time I see him. He was like Wanda Losky, You could just not stop laughing with that guy.
Oh, Cap.
Jack Rudy and Bob Montagna. And of course, Charlie Cartwright, RJ. And we got Mike Malone. You can't, and there's Zeke Owen. And then we'll get over to the next style here. We got Patty, and she, and Kate. And then we go down one, and you got Mike Pike and JD Crow. And both have done their fair share for the industry. Tony's not with us. Tony Edwards isn't with us anymore, but Rusty Savage is. And Rusty's actually got a tattoo museum in Springfield, Missouri, or Springfield, Oregon. I believe he's got a tattoo museum.
I used to get down to Tony's shop in Tucson.
Oh, did you?
Ago. Yeah. Alibis took that over, right?
That's cool. I didn't. Oh, did he? Yeah.
I believe, yeah.
I didn't get to see him, but at National. There's old Roy Boy. You remember that nut, right?
Yeah.
And his tigers and all that.
I've got. His wife gave me a huge stack of books and videos and stuff over here on my bookshelf somewhere. His whole collection, I think, really.
Here's some of the ladies here, some more of them. Danny Dottie, who was Owen Jensen's wife, and then Millie Hull, who was the badass first woman tattooer on the Bowery, and tattooed on the Bowery forever. There's a little video clip on YouTube somewhere about Millie that's really interesting, and it's actually got old newsreel footage. And then we got Maud Wagner, Cindy Ray, of course, and then Suzanne Bowser.
Nice.
And that's the wall right now, and it keeps expanding. It's one of those things. But eventually, hopefully, this whole mirror will be full, and maybe above, and maybe I can move all this flash down here somewhere else and below. So I got room for a fair amount of people.
Nice.
Let's zoom around here. Okay, this one's fun for us, some of us. This, right, Cherry Creek, right? No big deal. Okay, we've all done it. Anybody who's tattooed for any length of time, even in the past decade, has done Cherry Creek flash. And I'm gonna flip back around here so I can sit down.
We've all made a lot of money off of Cherry Creek.
Oh man, I made so much money. It's not even funny. And when
Creek,
Rand was
JD Crow.
Yep. And Judy.
Judy's, yep.
Judy, if you had Judy, Tattoo Brand, and all of the Cherry Creek stuff, you were set.
Yeah, a ton of the Don Nolan stuff I used to tattoo.
Yeah, too. Nolan, and I have that out. I have that whole collection, minus some of the swastika stuff. But because he had all that hardcore biker stuff, for shock value or whatever it was for back then. But that's some of the best American traditional resource material I've seen, out there as in a collection that you can get, but I don't think you can get them anymore. So unless you buy them, and I've seen them go for per one sheet go for, in mint condition, go for anywhere from $40 to $100, which I would have never thought would happen because they were $3 a piece. But, that's
I've got tons of them laying around somewhere.
Oh yeah, $3 a piece. I remember. Okay, let's see here. But I'm going to flip back around on it. but a couple of national deals too. More Jack art. But so anyways, the story on this here, and I don't think you'll be able to see it but it's from the first set. And what happened was we were Judy Parker comes and does a guest spot with me after Sturgis every year. And she comes out and works for 3-4 days and then hangs out for a day or two. And so one year we were here, and I got a message from Rand Johnson, and he says, we're on vacation and we're going to be in your area and we'd like to come by and see the museum. And I said, oh, cool, right on. I hadn't seen the guy since the 90s. And, I mean, shit, to be able to tell the guy, hey, thank you for all you did for tattooing and for me, my pocketbook, all the fun I had because of your tattoos or designs. So anyways, we're sitting there talking. He goes, I got something for you. And he hands me this envelope, and it's the first set, the first 10 sheets. And he goes, these are the master copies.
Nice.
And I went, no shit. And he goes, yeah, I wanted you to have them so you could keep them in your archive, and then you can display, whatever you want to and all that. They're actually the colored penciled in originals. And when you look at the sheets close, you can see little bits of white out here and there where he would whited out the spots where he got a little pencil or something that he couldn't get rid of. And
Beautiful,
then
man.
the line drawing sheets are all cutouts put on the line drawing sheet. So it's a real interesting deal there. It's something that is really unique that we wound up getting, that I'm really stoked that we have, because who there's nobody besides him, I think, that can say they got original Cherry Creek. And it's not that old, but it's just for guys like you and I and a lot of people, man, that is the stuff.
Well, and the thing is originals and masters and stuff like that, they more often than not, they don't change hands until somebody dies. So
Right.
to be gifted that that's an incredible honor. That's awesome.
An honor. Yeah. It immediately went, the first sheet, or at sheet number 2 is what I picked, went on the wall immediately. It was just one of those things where I had to get it up,
Nice.
What else could I show you real quick?
Well, I can't wait to get out there one of these days, though. I want to see it all, but I want to see it all firsthand. So,
I mean, this doesn't do it any justice,
Yeah.
Completely. It does it some, but it's not a complete a thing. And then, like a lot of times when tattooers come out, there's another display case of machines, but we won't even get into it. A lot of times when tattooers come out, I'll pull out machines and plug them in for people, because it's kind of a neat thing to be able to see that. I'm going to flip around one. These are cool. They're not real old, but they're still cool. They're bits of history that I really dig. Wish I would have got more of them, but these are old National Tattoo Association posters that Jack did. And then this one here is from the very last national ever.
Wow.
And it's got, I tried to get everybody I could on there, but it was the very last one. Kind of a neat, I don't know how close I can get to that. I can't really see them. So a lot of names. People came out of the woodwork for that. At one point there's Wes Grimm standing there. I saw Randy Adams walking through. It's like, when was the last time anybody saw Randy Adams? I mean, I think it happens to a lot of us. You get to a point where you get settled in and you got to be, where you're at. These are just a handful that I got together from a handful of different nationals. And sometimes you could get them filled with signatures and sometimes you couldn't. But
You can spot Jack's art anywhere.
oh yeah. Yeah, totally. Okay, here we go. Back to me. Uh-oh. Wait a minute. Why is it not doing it? Well, at least we're looking at some cool stuff. No, I don't want to leave. I want to flip around. There we go. Uh-oh. There we go. We're back on me. So that's kind of a little bit of more of a tour. It's was a little quick and all that, but we got more in there.
Oh, there's so
before-
much. I mean, you
than we
couldn't
did,
see it all.
before the battery incident there, when we lost all power and everything that had to do with it. So at least we will be able to get the battery charged back up and continue to do this.
Yeah, we got it done, man. Hey, I really appreciate it. It's awesome, and I can't wait to hopefully someday come out there and see
Oh,
it
yeah.
all in person. And
Come
know,
out, man. It's there's a couple of conventions out this way too. One in September, I think it is, that Tim Azinger puts on that for Meeting of the Marked, and then there's one coming up here in April as well. So that's some fun. I don't know.
I'm going to be in the Northwest, I think in July. The wife and I are going to do a Alaskan cruise out of I think Seattle. Or
Nice.
One of those ports there.
Yeah,
we're gonna head
Seattle
out.
or Vancouver, BC.
Yeah, so we're gonna do a cruise up and down the Alaskan coastline or whatever. So I may see about coming out a day or two early or staying a day or two in that area, and
Oh, yeah, you ought to. It's
and make the trek
beautiful.
out there.
It's beautiful, we got a nice resort. Well, that's a little spendy, but boy, it's beautiful. But yeah, it's really nice. The mountains, we got the lake, there's tons of stuff to do in the area. I mean, you could, and in the summertime, the amusement park is open. So
Nice.
we have the only amusement park in the Northwest, and they just put in this new roller coaster called Stunt Pilot. And it is the coolest roller coaster I've ever ridden in my life. And I love roller coasters and ridden a bunch of them, but it's on a rail and it's the smoothest thing in the world. And it's got all these banks and turns and twists. And I got off of it and went back and got back in line and went back on and then got off. The first
Like
time
a little kid.
I got off, I was catching my breath, and my daughter and her boyfriend come up and they go, "Okay, you ready to do it again?" I'm like, "Just let me catch my breath." And since I'm disabled, I get to go in a different entrance. So it's and bring up to 6 people with me. So it's kind of neat in that sense. And I caught my breath a second and then I went and got back on it. And so I rode it 3 times that
Nice.
day. And then I've ridden it 2 times since. So in the last year, I rode the roller coaster 5 times, and it was worth the price of admission, and it's like $40 something to get in, and it was totally worth it just to ride that ride. So yeah, tattoo artists are nuts.
Well,
So,
we know what we like, and that's
yeah.
a lot
Well,
of
to me,
people
I
don't.
don't ride motorcycles anymore, so I get the same thrill out of the roller coasters, maybe a little bit more, I don't know. I joked about my wife. Now that my back's going to be better, I'm just going to get a season pass and I'm just going to go out there a couple times a week and ride that damn thing.
Just make sure you have the back healed up well before you do that.
Yes, I'm not doing anything until then. Although the doctor did say I can ski this winter, so that'll be cool. We'll see how it goes, but that would be really cool because I haven't in years and it's something that I love.
I haven't
So,
skied in 30 plus years, and I keep
Oh.
thinking about it every season, but at the same time, I don't like being cold. So
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you don't get cold skiing, but you get really cold on that damn chairlift. So
Yeah, you got to have the right gear for sure. But man, the stuff nowadays is so good you don't get cold. You do
yeah,
all
I'm
right.
sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
but,
and
if you
again,
don't
when I
get
was
cold,
skiing in the my 20s, I was invincible. So
right,
had
yeah,
a pint in the inside pocket, and that's what kept you warm. But
right,
it's probably not the
right.
same anymore.
No.
But
Yeah,
anyways,
but
it's been a fucking pleasure talking to you, Jake.
yes,
And I really appreciate your time and giving us that tour. Why don't you tell these fine folks what the website is for the museum and how they can get a hold of you if they want to come out there and see you and visit or
Okay.
get tattooed. Give out all your information, and then we'll call it a day, man.
Okay, yeah. So we're located in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, which is in North Idaho. And we're as close as you can get to downtown. We're up on 2934 North Government Way, and here in Coeur d'Alene. And then the phone number, if anybody wanted to call, is 208-665-6565, which is hard to forget. I always try to pick those ones when I got a tattoo shop. You pick the number that you can get people to remember, and 665-6565 is just, that's easy.
It's a good one.
And then the website is just northwesttattoomuseum.com. So just one word.com. And I just went in and revamped the website. So it's pretty cool. And it's got a little slideshow of the museum in it too. And then all the tattoo artists that I have working here. And I'm going to do this real quick before we go. We have a little tattoo shop inside of the museum itself. Boink, there it is. And I was going to close it in a little bit more, but I didn't do it because we wanted it to be a little more airy, just in case we didn't touch on this earlier. And then there's the wall, oh flash. And then in there, Richard.
Hey, Richard.
Miss Tracy, one of our other artists in there. So, but yeah, it's our little tattoo area. And I didn't know if I showed it. I know I showed Bones.
Yeah.
Our real lead artist over there sitting in the front. Although he hasn't been paying his share lately, so I don't know. I might have to fire him. He's only been making the bare bones. All right. Well, then I think we got a good amount in there. So
okay.
And I'm a little tired, so yeah, that's a good time to go, Zinni, as well. Although we could probably sit here and talk forever.
Yeah, but people get bored after about 2 or 3 hours. But
oh yeah, they do. Yeah, they sure do.
But,
I think it'd be fun one time, and see, we could go on for hours, is to get out all the old convention passes for reminiscence. Could you imagine that for a show?
Yeah, and I've got
go in this one, and then see what you can remember.
I've got cardboard boxes put away from the 90s from the shows I used to go to back then. The shirts, the convention shirts. So I've got a pretty good collection of old convention shirts.
That's awesome.
And when you did the shows back then, when you signed in, you usually got little treats too, because like Gil used to give you little pirate trinkets when you signed in for your booth. The little booty, the little fake coins, and that little memorabilia stuff like that. Like, you don't get that anymore nowadays. You just get your bracelets and your lanyards if they have both, and then you just go make your money. But yeah, there's a lot of little things that are missing these days. But
yeah, well, maybe some of the show guys who put on shows will hear this and go, oh, well, maybe we should do that.
I doubt it.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But
one can always hope, right?
Yeah. But anyways, I really appreciate your time, Jay. It's always good to see you. I will talk to you again. We will swap a whole lot more stories, maybe on film, maybe off. But
right.
Yeah, man.
We'll tell the ones we can't tell on film off, and we could do that and then paraphrase.
All right. Okay. We got to wave. Thanks, guys.
We'll see you.